On now. Now it's on. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hoboken Historical Museum in beautiful uptown Hoboken, New Jersey. Welcome for people who are here with us in the museum, and welcome to people who are watching live stream. My name is Danny Schott. I'm the poet in residence here at the museum. I want to thank Bob Foster, Vera Sirota, Rand Hoppy, and Bill for making this museum a welcoming place and a place that actually runs. As we begin, I'd like to say this. You're welcome, Bill. I would like to respectfully acknowledge and recognize our responsibility to the original caretakers of this land, water, and air, the Lenape tribe, and all of their ancestors and descendants, past, present, and future. The Lenape named Hoboken, which in their language means land of the tobacco pipe or land of the long pipe. The Lenape were promised their own sovereign state in New Jersey for fighting against the British during the American Revolution. The government lied. I like to start these things with a poem, and we're going to play a game here. You have to guess who wrote this. It wasn't me. Okay, so it's a Jersey thing. O enchanted land of my childhood, a cultural petri dish from which regularly issues forth greatness. New Jersey, in case you didn't know it, has got beaches, and they're not all crawling with roid-raging trolls with reality shows. I grew up summering on those beaches. They are awesome. Jersey's got farmland, beautiful bedroom communities, where the woman from Real Housewives who looks like Dr. Zayas does not live, nor anyone like her. Even the refineries, the endless clover leaves of turnpikes and expressways, twisting and unknowable patterns over the wetlands that are to me somehow beautiful. To know Jersey is to love her. Okay, who wrote that? Any guesses? Don't be scared to be wrong. Should I tell you? Yes. That was Anthony Bourdain talking about New Jersey. Honestly, he didn't really write it as a poem. It was the beginning of one of his shows. I made it a poem, though. Okay, let's get started. We've got 4 terrific poets for you today. I know you're really going to like it. And the poets, each of them have books for sale. paulA Neves, a native of Newark, New Jersey, whose work explores, among other themes, first-generation American and immigrant experience, artists' communities, and the confluence of urban and natural environments, is the author of the full-length collection Passaic, which is just out. It's brand new from Get Fresh Books and is for sale here today. That's right. And the chapbook Capricornucopia, The Dream of the Goats from Finishing Line Press. paulA is the co-founder of Parkway North Productions, which produced the award-winning documentary The Remedy back in 2021 about 2 New Jersey based hip-hop artist-musicians. paulA's visual art has appeared at the Montclair Art Museum, the Newark Museum, the Newark Arts Festival, Rutgers University, and elsewhere. That's right, Rutgers. Let's hear it for Rutgers. Honors include fellowships from the New Jersey State Council of the Arts, the City of Newark, the New York Foundation for the Arts Immigrant Artist Mentoring Program, and Canto Mundo. paulA holds an MFA in poetry from Rutgers, Newark, and teaches English composition there. That's right. For more, please visit at Itinerant Muse on Instagram or visit paulA.neves.net. Let's hear it for Paula.
Thank you, Danny, for that wonderful intro. And thank you guys for being here, because after that rain, the sun finally came out, right? So I'm like, are people gonna show up for this? But you're all here, so that's cool. And there's a lot of people here, like Elliot Katz, who I was telling him before, one of the first poets I saw when I was an undergrad at Rutgers, New Brunswick, and when I was trying to figure out how to be a poet. So glad to see him here again. And I'm looking forward to reading with my fellow poets. As Danny said in the bio, he mentioned what my themes are, so I'm not going to repeat them, but I'm glad that he started with talking about the Lenape peoples. This collection is not so much directly about the Passaic River in terms of, an ecological perspective. It's all the poems kind of reference this idea of river or riven, right? Riven to be split, right? And it kind of takes that perspective more so from the point of view of working class immigrants. A lot of the people in the lower 17 miles of the Passaic, which is the most polluted section of the Passaic, right? So, and I'm glad that this exhibit is still up about water, right? And as we know, what happens with the environment when we develop. But I want to start with the recognition in my book to kind of go along with what Danny said. So this is in recognition of the Lenni Lenape peoples whose ancestral homeland inspired so many of the poems in this collection. Indirectly, right? So I'm not going to pretend like this is about them, but it's their land, right? So I'm going to read the title poem Passaic because I think it will set the tone for this. So I love epigraphs. There's two epigraphs here. The first one, from Passaic, meaning valley or place where the land splits. Lenape Talking Dictionary. Second one, we've all heard all kinds of stories from the older generations that when they were younger, they'd get to go and swim in the river, and we've never, during our lifetimes, ever seen that. Sergio Rodriguez, NJTV News, 2017. On Monday, they may remember Sunday morning with concentric rings, iron-bound antiphons in the breeze, fish hooks and faces abstracted on the green. You should have been in church, but even then, you pulled yourself out to watch others haul bluefish and bass, show them glistening and struggling to strangers and kin, declaring, here, as if there was no other proof of being. And you made more of a line than anyone, treaded mud to untangle roots, mourned ducks whose bills dangle hooks, wounds blurred colors of countries you'd left, iridescent in the workday runoff, and they all said and did nothing in papers filed out of state. By Sunday evening, there is little unraveling, communion's long past, bait in hand, turn of head, amen. Ribs turn back to gill in protest, livers sing the size of fists, crows grow quiet on the rooftops, geese huddle on loading docks, trees clothe themselves in dust. A student asks, what's Agent Orange? Monday morning, late 1st century, they may remember how names were written on these currents. No, they'll say they invented it, subdivide and sell the waterfront. And words will write themselves again without us. Oceans rising, pray the puddles. Oceans rising, pray the lakes. Oceans rising, pray Passaic. I mean, Hoboken is certainly familiar with the waterfront and providing and selling the waterfront, right? This next poem, I'm kind of amazed by all this stuff. I'm kind of amazed by looking back on this, how these themes never go away, and how in our current environment, it's almost like hindsight, ironic hindsight, right? Let me find the poem. I think you'll recognize, you won't recognize the epigraph, but you'll recognize who the author of the epigraph is. He's basically our co-president. Let me just find the page. Yeah.
23.
Is it 23, John? Yeah, you're right, it's 23. Here we go. This harkens back to when my brother and I were kids and we'd hang out in my grandparents' three-room apartment in Newark, and we'd watch TV. They had the black and white TV on their refrigerator, and we'd be like fooling around as preteens would be, and making fun of the adults who spoke with funny accents and stuff. We're not going to be like them, right? It kind of harkens back to that. We're gonna stake our own claim. But here's the epigraph, and I won't mention his name, but you know who it is. The poem is called Space, or 1970s TV. In order for us to have a future that's exciting and inspiring, it has to be one where we're a space-faring civilization. Because we're going to screw up the Earth, so we got to outsource or off planet it, right? So, this is actually, I guess, a form poem. It was originally in the form of a rocket, but just because of the way it was laid out, it's like split into 2 pages. So it's like half the rocket's on one page and half the other. We were the rockets of rooms, the triples, the heart of fire, watching black and white antenna TV Battlestar Galactica. Imagine 1999 was going to be a rogue moon we'd already lived through. And going back to the land, terra, nothing like how the Marias and José, not Jose, remembered when they couldn't even handle the escudo to euro conversion. Never mind the dollar, the almighty dollars pinned to Our Lady of Fatima, and José for insurance for Uncle Sam and Ma Belle and José, Joe, family head, factory hand, always changed the channel or turned it off to save us, while Mama Mary Maria explained that green cards cost green, not like the kale soup for soul or pasture for cattle kind of sodage, but for the payment to the Clinica overcharge, for the convenience of keeping the heater at 50 all winter, and the medical wants more tests, still does. So little bro and me laughed our guts out to keep warm, then adjusted our parkas and mitts to imitate Apollo and Starbuck. Only the Marias tell us no way it was like that, and our own Ma Maria said I exaggerated, if not outright lied, but I say space is space, and had to be reached from there somehow. So, I forgot that there's obviously some Portuguese words there, and I didn't explain what they were ahead of time. The book does come with notes on, the Portuguese meaning of the word, but I'm hoping that, a lot of the poems you can just figure it out by context. I'm going to read a poem about my father. So one of the big themes here is just like working class aspirationalism, right? To attain the American dream, right? Even though it's not always what it's cracked up to be. And this is a very Jersey poem in a way. It's kind of a way to, like when you're a kid, I see this a lot in my students, they just want to get the hell out of Jersey. And I never was able to get the hell out of Jersey. I'm still here. I'm pretty much still in around the same area where I grew up. Just life takes you that way. It's called My Father's Last Sunday. My father was a longshoreman, okay? And I dedicated this poem to my brother, Louis, and after the artists Rimbaud and Modigliani. He turned Sunday to Monday like water to wine. Stories he'd learned through Escola Primaria and a 9th birthday spent spreading sulfatu on the fields. So his father's corn, wheat, and rye could rid his mother's broa. The hard future, neither cake nor surprise. He decided then to leave the terra behind for his father and the flat-footed, to pound town with their aguardent at the peasant festage. He decided to trade Salazar for salt water, float lighter than cork on the waves. He turned the calendar by habit to Monday, drove his Toyota RAV4 with punja in his belly, his mother's recipe, a light supper for Sunday. The late afternoon drive painted New Jersey's July, a Modigliani landscape. Art he'd never learned, the window above the teamster's time clock. Oh, carotid promise, you stick your neck out long enough, working double overtime, unloading the world's conscience in Port Elizabeth, Newark. 25 years prioritize, make stewards from stevedores, no time to consider whether Monday is midnight, slip deck shines from sea slip or steel, crane operator gives a thumbs up or down, lift chain cracks a thorax into crumbs that feed the seagulls, your father's hummus, your mother's bread, your children's paid for teeth drifting. There's a reference there to Salazar, and some of you who may know European history know that he was one of the European autocrats, dictators, tyrants, whatever you want to call them, fascists, 40 years. So my family escaped that to come here, and the children are here now living under what we're living under. Anyway, I want to finish up with a poem called Ida. Right, so many of you, especially here in Hoboken, right, because it hit the Northeast, Ida, the hurricane from 2021, all the flooding, so I see like the pictures of flooding back here and around here. Ida, that word, IDA, in Portuguese is the word for ida, which means departure, right? So it kind of plays on that, and it plays on like, climate change, hurricanes, etc. And there's a word here that you probably should know. The word in Portuguese is correr, which means to run. Okay, so Ida, let the water run. Or sorry, Ida, let the water in. The windows wail every time it storms. I tell myself I'm going to write that song, but it all ends up in plastic. Bottles or bags torn from perfume samples some mother got for all her miracles, spent at Macy's beauty counters, waiting for the lottery or Atlantic City slots to purify her like the waters at Korea. Here's the RX. Wait, it's all running together. I mean the fix. To prove miracles do occur. From the Latin for ocorrer, which sounds like the Portuguese for correr. Wait, it's from the same damn family. I'm never going to outrun this. Rivers cleanse me weekly with 500-year storms. I always wanted a pool in my living room. I say it's all at home. I say it will go viral. I say not in my lifetime. But just in case I'm wrong, we may grow gills again. Oh, omnipresent plastics and old PCBs. Though bags and bottles rise, make mountains out of best laid plans, at least the economy is renewable. Something will bail us out. Have faith in technology, say billionaire rocketeers. Float on cryptocurrents when the tide is out, because none of it will matter when the moon is full. None of it will matter when there are no shores to home. I mean, home. My eyes are getting tired. They keep singing the same things.
Thank you, Paula. Hearing you, it reminded me of a few things that I should mention. One of them is the exhibit up now here at the Hoboken Historical Museum is the Hoboken Meadows. And that basically means the west side of Hoboken. At the time that the Lenape named Hoboken, Hoboken was an island. And they built out, and pretty much every time there's a storm, it seems that it wants to be an island again, as that pretty much is the state we live in. Also, I want to mention that the name of this event is Jersey Grown Part 2. Our authors all grew up in New Jersey, and here we are. Tom Obrzut has been active in New Jersey, New York poetry since 1983. He is one of 3 organizers of Poets Wednesday at the Barron Art Center in Woodbridge, New Jersey, the longest-running poetry series in the United States. They started in 1978. He has been published in a variety of magazines, including Longshot, Big Hammer, and the Brooklyn Rail, among others. He is co-editor, publisher of Arbella magazine, along with Beth Boris and Anthony Chianese, since 1986. Tom has published many chapbooks over the year, but also has published 3 full-length books of poems: Street Poems, The Clouds Come to My Bed, and I'm Not Okay with This Lie. I'm Not Okay with This Lie, which was published in 2024, just this past year. Tom has been a social worker, and it's for sale. Tom has been a social worker for nearing 40 years, primarily helping the homeless mentally ill. He currently works in an urban psychiatric hospital and is a part-time therapist. Tom is a widower with 2 adult children. Let's hear it for Tom Obrzut.
What a pleasure to be here with you guys. I've been here a couple times to watch what's happening here, and I really enjoy the space and the people and the vibe. I'm working on a series of poems right now. It's the 3rd time I've done it, where I write a poem every day for a year, and except for weekends. So I'm gonna read some poems from there. I'm gonna set myself a timer, if that's okay. And I'm going to start with a poem from the first series that I did when I was commuting back and forth between Midtown Manhattan, where I ran a homeless shelter, and my home in Maplewood, New Jersey. And the train was a perfect place to write a poem every day. This one is called Start Where You Are. This poem is not important. It is not a masterpiece. This poem is not a sign of genius. It did not spring from any great insight. This poem does not shake the earth, will not change history, is not destined for a glorious future. This poem will not be published in the New Yorker. It will be rejected by magazines of a literary, thoughtful bent. This poem realizes its own insignificance, relegated to the terrible fate of the misbegotten, the ill-conceived, incompetent, and ruined. This poem disappears with the loss of this sheet of paper. Disputes only a moment of time, deserves revision, but languishes in its tarnished demeanor. This poem joins in song with the voiceless poets. On the nod, drunk, bad partners, slow pokes, stubborn. This poem is every poem in every open reading. This poem is the anonymous poem buried in an unmarked grave. This poem gives strength to the weak. This poem joins a tumble of verse going back to the first word. This poem is not ashamed does not mind telling the bare facts, looks unflinching at death, sees mystery in human suffering, hopes for a bigger truth. This poem denies truth, loosens its tongue after another drink. This poem dreams burning, snores while the bed flames, is a phoenix, will come again. This poem is not afraid of failure. This poem knows success is only trying. This poem loves. This poem can overcome any mere circumstance, will wrestle anyone, fears nothing. This poem is the greatest. This poem flies like a butterfly, stings like a bee. This poem outlives poetry. This poem doesn't need a rhyme. This poem can never die. This poem is everything and knows everything is poetry. This poem lies down at night. This poem breathes hard going upstairs. This poem is a diabetic with retinopathy. This poem has a bad kidney. This poem is a worm. This poem is a flower that never bloomed. This poem is confused. This poem does not pledge allegiance. This poem is a pacifist. This poem cries. This poem acknowledges the worth of all other poetry. This is not for a slam. This poem isn't competing. This poem looks at the stars and wonders. This poem has no job. This poem is not a member of any organization, doesn't have the price of admission. This poem takes the train. It has no etiquette. This poem arrives late, rubbing its hands, laughing. Thanks. This is from the new series, or maybe right before I started the new series, but this one's called Chicken. I was struck by her eyelids. She barely looked at me, but I was hypnotized. She didn't really talk to me. I built up the courage, approached, and asked how she was. She didn't seem surprised and told me, "Good." I wondered what she was going to do. She said, "Go home and drink some wine. Maybe clean her place. Tomorrow she was off and would bring her boyfriend to the VA. I didn't ask for what. She wanted to know what I would do. I said, "Poetry. I'm going to a poetry reading." She looked at me blankly and replied, "Poultry?" Like chicken? I looked away and walked there. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. This is from this series. This is, I'm calling it Poem a Day, and this is Poem a Day 163. It's from March 9th, 2025, Sunday at 4:40 p.m., and it's called Meeting People. Meeting people, learning, yearning, surprise, flying and crashing, hopes dashed, realization, marching forward, moving in line. Meanwhile, the sun shining, nights declining into warmer months. Flowers not quite blooming, snowdrop and crocus, the red buds of cherry, my own vision blurred, my heart still my guide, somehow still alive after everything it needed died. Even if broken, it beats on. I vow to follow its lead, to hold my head where it's meant to be held, to recognize the emptiness of this, of compassion and mercy and kindness, empty as ghosts, but essential. I hope for these empties more than heaven, because when they are here, I have risen like an old and sickly angel into the stars. I don't need to go to Mars or to your house or the movies or the shore. I've done it all. I gave my best. Everything else can rest in peace because I don't. I can't now. From alien stock, runaways, losers, and deserters, from anarchists and communists, from the Carpathian no man's land to understanding and forgiveness, I will give this, wishing all beings to have an end to all their various sufferings, to have comfort. I will work to give it. Sacrifice because it's good, like my mother taught me, and I understood what's good isn't free. It isn't easy, but I can feel it and I can see it. She taught me it, and she was right. With all my might, I carry on. Thank you. Thank you. And this is a poem that I got inspired by the last reading that was here. I think it was Reggie Gaines was reading, as well as some other readers. It was really quite touching. And I wrote this poem after the reading. It's called At the Poetry Reading. At the poetry reading, I realized there is hope. I listened to a man I don't know well read a poem about how his mother died when he was 9, and how his neighbors raised him, kept him off the street. I find myself tearing up as I think about the horribleness our politics promises, and the naked emperor proclaims his passion, and the white supremacists are back in fashion. I recognize that the power to change is in our hands. So in this moment, I believe in poetry. I know that people can rise. I think about my friend Lisa, how she said, these contradictions will make a backlash, that the heart chakra will open in opposition to all this hate. I hope it's true. Vowing to live more fully, more heartfully, I listen to the ghosts, to my memories, to love. I wake up from dreams and I write them down. I live my fate like I chose it because I did. I recognize mistakes, show up late, say what I say, and every day I start again. Try to help the people I run across. I want them to believe in me as I believe in them. But I refuse to believe that the poor deserve it, that equity is a bad word, that hatred is anything but absurd. So I turn off the TV news and go outside where people are. I look up at the moon and I get lost in the stars. But I'm not going to Mars like those losers who think they own it all. They're wrong. They don't own it all. It's just what they think, and their thinking is wrong. It's just what they're thinking. They've been wrong all along. Thank you. And one for my last poem is for Elon Musk. It's called Robots. Poem a day, 1:20, Tuesday, 8:30 p.m., January 7th, 2025. The robots are in charge. The algorithm has taken over. I, too, am a robot. My voice sounds almost human. Robots write poetry. They make a better rhyme. Don't have to get a visa. They're from here. They show up on time. ICE is not coming for the robots. No one arrests the robots. They have our best interest in mind. They will help us get the work done. Tired? Get a robot. Hungry? Ask a robot to bring food. Worried? The robot's doing therapy. Playing chess? Making your bed? Cleaning up your mess? Robot president running the country, robot philosophers with ideas, robot geniuses solving everything, robot celebrities smile for the camera, robot bosses give orders, robot lovers in your room. Don't get worried, it's just the robots. They're here to tell you. There'll be more robots soon. Robots looking for ways to do it better. Robots looking to improve. They don't care about the weather. Robots are smooth. Robots can live forever. They're not worried about doom. Don't sit around complaining. Robots got something to prove. Robot doesn't need a vacation. Robot doesn't need a raise. He'll do the job the billionaires ask for. He'll volunteer to take your place. Robot driving your car takes you on a spaceship to Mars. You can live there with the other bots. If you're a robot, there's a spot for you. Robots don't get sick. There's a lot of them, so take your pick. Robots can stay up late. Robots don't hate. Loves you, person, just wants to help. There's robots now in hell. They'll go there and burn for you. You can stay in and sleep late. Robot's not going to pay your bills. Robot says, go ahead, just chill. Anything you need, ask a robot, but it's not free.
You know, I've seen Tom Obrzut read a number of times over the years. I've read with him numerous times. And what's amazing is almost every time I've seen him, he has a new set of poems, and they're really good. And I'm just struck by awe and envy that you could do this. So I'm really excited about our next poet. Kevin Powell is one of the most celebrated political, cultural, literary, and hip-hop voices in America. He is a prolific writer and a Grammy-nominated poet. Kevin is a heavily sought-after public speaker who has lectured in all 50 states and on 5 continents. Yeah, 5. A native son of Jersey City, New Jersey, the human and civil rights activist has been engaged with nearly every democratic movement of the latter 20th and early 21st centuries, either as servant leader, a behind-the-scenes advocate, or in a leadership position with fellow writers, artists, and change agents. Kevin is the author of 16 books. I've got 2 of them right here. The one he's got with him for sale is The Education of Kevin Powell, A Boy's Journey into Manhood. The one I got on my shelf at home is this big book, The Kevin Powell Reader. Okay, he's the author of 16 books, including 3 poetry collections. As a journalist, he has written for a wide range of publications, including the New York Times, Esquire, Rolling Stones, Essence, Ebony, and Politico. And Kevin is the director, co-producer, and co-writer of his first documentary film, which I saw just a few months ago, right? A couple of months ago in New York. And the name of the film is When We Free the World, which is about manhood in America. Let's have a warm Hoboken welcome for Jersey City's own Kevin Powell.
Wow, how y'all doing? I'm inspired by the paulA and Tom. Just thank y'all. Can we please, man? I'm just I don't get to read with fellow poets a lot anymore, and I just sat here in awe of both of you. I just want to say that, just man, you know, poets are the real truth tellers in the world, clearly. And you know, as I was listening to both of you, you know, I thought about just this journey of New Jersey. When I was growing up, I knew I wanted to be a writer since I was 11 years old, and I'm going to dive into this. I was going to read a poem for my wife, who's not here. She's not feeling well. But it was a love poem. But you know what? I want to read a poem that I wrote that's a love poem for all of us based on paulA and Tom. Y'all inspired me. It's called We Them People. This is from my most recent poetry book. Working on a new one. Not as fast as you, Tom. The poem a day is no joke. I'm doing all right, but poems are not easy. Poems are not easy to write. But this is called We Them People. Dream on, dreamer. The way Alvin Ailey and Maya Angelou and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor dreamed of Southern baked pilgrims dancing and slow marching their sorrows down the yellow brick roads of second line members, humming from the heels of their dirt-kissed feet. I want to be ready to put on my long white robe. We are survivors, we are survivors, we are survivors of people who were free and became slaves, of people who are slaves and became free. We know why the cage bird sings. We know what the redemption song brings. We them people, we the people, we are those people who shall never forget. Our ancestors all up in us as we sleep, our grandmother all up in us as we weep, because we are Native American, Black, Irish, Welsh, French, German, Polish, Italian, Jewish, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Greek, Russian, Dominican, Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, Filipino, Korean, Arab, Middle Eastern. We are biracial and we are multicultural. We are bicentennial and we are new millennial. We are essential and we are frontline. We are everyday people and we are people every day. We are me too. We are me too. We are me too. We are Muslim, Christian, Hebrew too. We are Bible, Torah, Quran, atheist and agnostic, truer than true. We are rabbis and imams and preachers and Yoruba priests, tap dancing with Buddhists and Hindus and Rastafarians as the Nicholas brothers jump and jive and split the earth in half while Chloe and Maude Arnold, them syncopated ladies, twist and shout and stomp Trump. Hate. Again, again, again. Yeah, we still rise, we still surprise. We got Judith Jamison's crying solo in our eyes. Every hello ain't alone, every goodbye ain't gone. We are every tongue, every nose, every skin, every color, every face mask. We are matted lives painted black. We are matted lives painted black. We are matted lives painted black. We are every tattoo, every piercing, every drop of blood, every global flood. We are straight, queer, trans, non-gender conforming. We are she, he, they. We are disabled. We are able, poor, rich, big people, little people, in between people. We are protesters, pepper spray with knees on our necks. We are protesters, pepper spray with knees on our necks. We are protesters, pepper spray with knees on our necks. We them people, we the people, we are the people who will survive. Who will survive? Who will survive these times? Because we done survived those times. Where pandemics were a trail of tears and lynchings and holocausts. Where pandemics were no hope and no vote and no freedom spoke. We them people, we the people, we are those people. While our planet gently weeps, we bob and bop like hip hop. Across the tender bones of those tear-stained photographs, to hand to this generation, to hand to this generation, to hand to this generation, the next generation, those revelations, yeah, that blues suite, yeah, that peaceful dance inside a raging tornado we call love. So, I was born and raised in Jersey City. People either love Jersey City or they hate Jersey City. I went to Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I was a social worker for 2 years in Newark, New Jersey. And then I moved over to New York City. I've been in Brooklyn longer than anywhere in my life. But Jersey raised me. There's a Ukrainian Jewish sister named Olga Lavina who runs the Jersey City Theater Center in Jersey City, who's a dear friend, and she asked me a few months ago to, Kenneth, hey, we went to college together. Olga asked me to write a poem from my perspective about being a native of Jersey. So the poem is called Jersey. This is the first time I'm reading this, y'all, so please bear with me. It's called Jersey from a Hudson County native son. And wow, as I was listening to Paula and Tom, I just thought about my upbringing in Jersey. One reason why I'm not afraid of what's happening right now, I'm concerned, but I think about my mother and my two aunts who came together up here to Jersey from South Carolina, and they survived all kinds of things. Imagine having to deal with racism and sexism and classism, working class, poor black women. So this is Jersey. Actually, Danny, today was the first day I looked at it since I wrote it in December. Here goes. I am Jersey. I am a Lenape person, undying faith healer of this garden and grindstone state. I've devoted thousands of years to watching the sun cut its eyes at those who were naughty by nature and tried to smother my righteous red skin with disease and destruction. My name is Hoboken. My name is Weehawken. My name is Secaucus. I'm a rock that floats like a bee. I'm a poem for a people condemned to flee. I fish, I hunt, I gather with my soul bag, and I water this land with my prayers still. I am Jersey. I am a deleted African, a discarded blackbird. I was manacled in the motherland. I was melted inside the Middle Passage. I was man-made into a broken-hearted robot, somewhere between Communipaw and Teaneck. My free labor and my lash whips blew hot air into the bloated bank accounts that begat Princeton and Rutgers. I am any female, any male, any child, any identity. The Underground Railroad resides in my DNA. the way emancipation resides in the crushed scabs of my mouth. I consume the contaminated cranberries of the gradual abolition of slavery, so gradual, you did not free me, New Jersey, until January 1866. I slide, I hide, I glide with my soul bag, and I water this land with my prayers still. I am Jersey. I am Paul Robeson. My mother, a blind Quaker school teacher who the world will light on fire. My father, an escaped slave and an Igbo preacher. Who the world will light on fire, I am the notes of a native son, pencil into the pages of an invisible man. Here I stand, the only Negro boy at Rutgers University. I'm so dope that my mind is like the mysterious mathematics used to invent antique civilization. I am so dope that my flesh is Mount Kilimanjaro as worship-ready mudcloth. You break my nose, but I still become an all-American football player. You try to break me with names, I become my class valedictorian. They do not know me. My mother was part Lenape, Paul Robeson says. My father, all African. They do not know I sing like a melancholy ocean, rocking itself to sleep. They do not know I act like I got Shakespeare dripping from my pores. They do not know I reach the many like I am Jesus, the Jewish carpenter, spitting rhymes down at the cross. They do not know I will become a national hero in Wales, or that another colored boy from Jersey will discover me after I've been airdropped into the fiery holes of history. No matter. I smile, I rise, I go high with my soul bag, and I water this land with my prayers still. I am Jersey. I am Irish, Italian, Polish, German. I am an immigrant tribe baked into the bowels of poverty, oppression, and despair. I board basement ships, bound for the promised land. I carry with me to Ellis Island my crumpled fingers, my arthritic papers, my mangled luggage set to explode. I bow and hooray at the sight of the Statue of Liberty. I rub and kiss her ankles. I rub and kiss her cheek. I thank her for seeing me, the me I cannot see. It does not matter that someone will edit or change my name. It does not matter that someone will demand that I speak better English. It does not matter that someone will hate me the way the devil despises God. It does not matter that any work will fracture the contours of my bones. We will live together and on top of each other and next to each other in Greenville, on the west side, downtown, in the Heights, akin to a permanently anchored barge at the corners of concrete boxes. We will marry and intermarry. Our children will have names like Rachel and Joey and Frank and Abra. I will fly to the white moon like Sinatra. I will chop that white moon into meaty pieces to seed my family along generations. I will not understand the miseducation of Lauryn Hill is my miseducation too. I will not understand Bruce Springsteen's worn, unpolished boots are my worn, unpolished boots too. I dream, I scream, I redeem with my soul bag, and I water this land with my prayers still. I am Jersey. I am Birdie. I am Shirley. I am Catherine. We are blood sisters of South Carolina. We are daughters ruined by plantation landmines and the ghost of Emmett Till. We are daughters written off by Jim Crow railroad spikes and filthy water fountains. We are daughters rusted by racism and sexism and classism. We do not want to be the help like our mother. We don't want to be cotton pickers like our father. We do not want to be slaughtered for being we like our father's father. So we shove and squeeze our lives into plastic suitcases. We attach our coins together with chicken grease, and we get on a Greyhound bus, bound for the colored promised land, because an older cousin told us it was Jersey City, a factory town, peeled, salted, and cooked by the furnace of the Hudson River. Jersey City, a gladiator's ghetto for the Great Migration that ejected its kinfolk from South Carolina, from North Carolina, from Georgia, from Florida. We three sisters packed into our plastic suitcases our Geechee breathing irons, our Mama Lottie's spells and superstitions, our Daddy Pearlie's rage and cease and desist Bible verses. We rent a room in a boarding house. We three sleep in the bed together. We get up every day searching for jobs. We fall in love and fall flat on our pregnant bellies. We each have only child babies. And we do the twists and the monkey and the jerk and the Soul Train strut with the welfare and the food stamps and the government cheese. We waged World War III with roaches and rats and slumlords and petty criminals like we Harriet Tubman on the front lines because we is. The ghetto tries to lock us in its jaw the way a shark snags and mercilessly rips its next prey, but we sisters will not be captured by the cruelties of our nightmares. We work, we cook, we clean, we raise our children with the traumas sledgehammered into the smalls of our backs. Our children will flee Jersey. Like we fled down south. While we condemn and curse each other, the way we were taught to smash each other's self-love in those dusty fields 4 gullah lifetimes ago. We age, we cry, alone, as we slay our soul bag, and we water this land with our prayers. Still, I am Jersey. I am Kevin Powell. I am a native son of Jersey City. My father bolted from South Carolina like the illiterate runaway fugitive he was, because he dared to slap a white man with the open palm of his tongue. My mother bolted from South Carolina because she did not want to be a mule roped to the same tree that savagely beat her ancestors. They met in Jersey. They met in Jersey. They met in Jersey. My mother and father met in Jersey. They 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 slow danced to Marvin Gaye and Smokey Robinson. They conceived me as a torrential shower smeared my mother's body with shame and tomorrow. My father was not there when the hurricane flooded my mother's cave. Someone had to phone a cab, had to call a cab, had to phone a cab, had to call a cab to take my mom to the Margaret Haig Maternity Hospital, where I was born one Sunday morning in April at 4:53 a.m. My mother screamed, "Whose white baby is this?" When uncolored me was presented to her. My mom did not know my father, a reddish, high yellow black man, was the son of a very pale black man who was really half white and half indigenous. That my father's father was offspring of a rape of a Native American woman by a white man in the clay outhouse of South Carolina. What terrified my mother, what my terrified mother did know, is that she had no name for me. When she got home to Bostwick Avenue in Jersey City, she asked the woman neighbor up the block, "What should I call this boy?" And the woman said, "Kevin." And that is how it was. No middle name, because my mother said, "Boy, we ain't have time for all that." So it's just Kevin Powell. And I only glimpsed the silhouette of this godmother who branded me on that one occasion several bloody kneecaps later when I was a preteen delivering the Jersey Journal newspaper after school. Remember the Jersey Journal, y'all? I knew it was my godmother. I knew her name, but I did not have the guts to tell her, "I'm the boy you named." Yes, my entire youth was photocopied from the tender and scared spaces of a Charles Dickens novel and S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders. The Greenville section of Jersey City, Harlem for black folks and Puerto Ricans too, where the kryptonite smells of collard greens and fried chicken and candy yams did a familiar two-step with the clanging pots and pans that starred rice and beans and stewed chicken, where the musical revolution of Stevie Wonder had a mad passion love affair with a supersonic salsa of Herb Hector Lavoe. inside our one-bedroom apartment. Me, my mother, my Aunt Kathy, my cousin Anthony, 2 mothers and 2 sons in one-bedroom apartment. Outside our one-bedroom apartment were baby mamas and disappearing papas like mine, hallelujahs per minute preachers, buy on credit discount clothing stores, laundromats with side pieces where you could play the numbers with Reverend so-and-so, and every kind of black pride and black power poster I can remember. There were pop-up barbershops and hot comb beauty salons, streaming churches glistening with holy oil, and funeral homes hustling heaven with your insurance policy. Jersey City unrolled its arms on me, to me, on Bostwick, on Orion, on Bergen, on Dwight, on Linden. I was a city slicker raised by a country dweller. I was both mesmerized and utterly confused by the science fiction of the South, by the peculiar mixture of God saving us from ourselves and the severe poverty that chewed at the nappy edges of my imagination. But I had an imagination. I conjured up possibilities. Brown and bare knuckle like me, like Flip Wilson, the other Jersey City native son who camouflaged and folded himself like Frederick Douglass. I could have friends who were Irish, Italian, Polish, German, and I had friends who were Puerto Rican, Filipino, West Indian, Peruvian, Arab. It does not matter that some will hate me the way the devil despises the Lord, because my imagination had his wig snatched off, clear off his head when my mother took me at age 8 to the Greenville branch of the library on Kennedy Boulevard. Little did I know, those library trips would boost this proud, poor black boy of Jersey City from the lying games of misery to the orange skies of maybe. Little did I know those library trips would prod and push this poor black boy of Jersey City and lather and wash fear from his punctured chest and question the hunger, the poverty, the whoopings, the abuse, the laughter, the food, the traps of the concrete box, the way we pleaded with God, the way we pleaded with the police, the way we pleaded with the welfare workers, the way we pleaded for better. And I questioned in my solitude my missing father, my wounded mother, the hurt and lonely me in the clown mirror, and the hurt and lonely me racing in Audubon Park, snot sprouting from my nostrils like weeds in an abandoned ghetto lot. My breath a dead weight, bending my boat legs from there to Grove Street. Yeah, if I sprinted fast enough, maybe, just maybe, I could be free, as those books made me feel in that cramped library. I dream of Jersey often. I dream of Jersey often. paulA was one of the ones who got out, because I needed to do it for my sanity. I could not write about Jersey if I didn't get out. I dream of Jersey often, of the joys and the horrors, of the victories and the defeats, of this multi-everything place, that constructed my working class swag, that commanded a wordless child to speak, that bore my everlasting love of baseball, that led me to Rutgers, to New Brunswick, which breastfed me the biting ballad of Paul Robeson. Of the unending days I would run cross-country in Lincoln or Liberty State Park. Of the unending days I would pedal my bike along Ocean, along Garfield, along Bergen, thinking this Jersey boy could turn that bicycle into a time machine with pretty wings and soar where my mama and them have never been. Soar, like those pretty wings are taped to the plastic suitcases my mother passed to me the day I left for college, the day I left forever. Somewhere in this juggernaut called Jersey, you can hear the faded echoes of the Lenape, the sorrow songs of the Africans, the scampering feet of the Underground Railroad, the miracle markets of new and old immigrants, and the honey-lipped salt eaters like my mother and my aunts. I realize, no matter where I travel in America, no matter where I travel or wander this earth, Jersey is forever there, a magical potion brewing inside of me. Because I have survived. I have survived with my soul bag, and I water this land with my prayers still. Thank you.
Just wow. That was epic. Epic Jersey poem. Although Teresa Carson now lives in Sarasota, Florida, she was born in Jersey City and lived the next 60 plus years in various towns in Hudson County, including 4 decades in the same house on West Street in Union City. As a matter of fact, 2 of her books, published by Kevin Powell Press, Elegy for the Floater has some of the best Jersey City poems you're going to find. And My Crooked House has some of the best Union City poems you're ever going to find. And that's about, I mean, there's other stuff too, but it's about that same house on West Street. Teresa holds an MFA in poetry and an MFA in theater, both from Sarah Lawrence College. She is the author of 6 collections of poetry. Her latest collection, Time Out of Joint, was published by Deerbrook Editions in November 2023. She is the Associate Director of the Monson Arts Conference on Poetry and Learning. Let's have a really warm welcome for Teresa Carson.
Wow. God, paulA, Bob, Kevin, yikes. I'm just, I'm a little bit speechless at the moment. Kevin, I was born in Jersey City, but my mom's doctor was in East Orange General. So I was actually born in East Orange General. Yeah, huh? Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everyone. I had a really good time preparing for this reading because I was thinking about all my Jersey poems. And Kevin, to your I am Jersey, I would actually be a little more specific and say I am Hudson County. Because I was born, I lived in Jersey City, lived there till I was 18, and then I've lived in Weehawken, North Bergen, and Union City. So I've kind of traveled around Hudson County. And the other thing that you said was, I dream of Jersey often. And I realize, I mean, I've realized this before, but certainly in preparing for this reading, that it's as if this landscape is so much in me that no matter what I write, I'm writing Jersey poems. I can't seem to escape it. Not that I want to, but. So I'm going to read a bunch of, I'm going to start with 2 poems that I wrote 25 years ago. I'm going to move this here. Thank you. And they were written for my first book, but they didn't make the final cut. Now when I look at them, I think, why didn't they make the final cut? Yeah, right? Yeah. Blame my advisor, not me. Traveling back on routes 1 and 9. 3.8 miles of razor wire, broken glass, slaughterhouse ruins, oil-stained gravel, 1995 by the hour, Liberty View, Starlight, welcome trucks and buses, flat fixed here, Queen Anne's Lace, Go-Go Daily, hubcaps, White Manor, Naval Base, Al's Diner. Worst sight? 5 or 6 grime-coated houses, always a rusted machine propped against their stairs, with strips of weedy dirt between window and road. But when I reach the tunnely circle, the ramp to the skyway appears, rises west, and the Jersey City streets where I grew up sink out of my rearview mirror. There's nothing ahead but sky. Thank you. Okay, I'm kind of in love with the Skyway. So the second poem's about the Skyway too. And just to tell you, when I say my office window, I worked in Newark for many years, and the view I saw outside my window is this. 2 roads home. One, the turnpike. I see outside my office window, and right away, I know if my drive home will be quick or bumper to bumper. But the shape of the second, the skyway, stays hidden behind iron sides, which look like paper snowflakes we cut out in 2nd grade. The turnpike blends in. 113 straight miles of don't stick out in the crowdness. But oh, the immodest skyway climbs for 3 miles above rivers, factories, towns, and has the goal to preen at the top of each span. Look how it lords over Jersey City, Kearney, Newark. It's everything for industry. It's America moving west with bold strides. America, the land of leave behind, throw away, don't look back, get in the car. Pull the landscape with you. How often did I dream a car would take me where I wanted to go? When I found the right road, it didn't happen. I couldn't keep my eyes off the rivers, factories, churches, streets, rooms in my rearview mirror. I always wanted to go back one more time to the dirty rooms of 111 Belmont, the long 4 blocks to St. Aloysius. Yeah, the downtown streets we drove around and around the nights of my 16th summer. Always wanted to hear heat clank in radiators, Mr. and Mrs. Bible's fights that fell out their kitchen window, the silence around Mary Malloy's black eyes. Wanted to hear my mother say on a winter day, "At least Mr. Ostro gives us some heat." Wanted to see the ripped linoleum on our kitchen floor, books piled on shelves, to open drawers, look underneath, check pockets and closet floors. Wanted answers. Thank you. Why didn't that make that into this first book? Okay, so, yeah, right? When I do the collected, it'll show up, yes. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, my future biographer. So sometime in one of our conversations, Danny and I realized that his father and my father both worked at Bendix in Teterboro, in the machine shops, and around the same time. So they might have known each other, right? They're both union guys. That was a big thing. So this poem is kind of in memory then of both of our fathers. My father's wilderness. 8 months after I leave home, 2 before my 16th birthday, Pop calls. "Tweety Bird, let's go for a ride." I'm outside in minutes. He drives 35 in the left lane on Route 17. Drivers honk, yell as they pass. I slump and stay quiet because whatever I say might send him into a rage, and I don't want our time together ruined. He takes an unmarked exit, parks on the shoulder. I light a cig and follow him into an overgrown lot. There's Bendix. He points, but I can't see past weeds and trees. Proud of his job making delicate instrumentation for warships, planes, rockets. He kept the box with his jeweler's drills and the Apollo patch NASA gave him in his top dresser drawer and showed them to me many times, but didn't invite me, not even any of us, to his retirement dinner. When I worked days, I ate lunch here and bird watched. We stood in knee-high buzzing weeds. Bugs flew in my face. Cicadas clacking rose and broke above us. Saw all kinds, finches, sparrows, chickadees, red-winged blackbirds. Cardinals nested there one year. Woodpeckers drilled those holes. And once, only once, a redtail watched me from that branch. A hawk in Teterboro, Tweety Bird. He must have lost his way. I want to tell him, I miss seeing you every day. We reach the field's edge. A bulldozer's parked in a mowed section. My father stops. Over there was a mess of milkweed. Monarchs loved it. I light another cig and wonder how much longer we'll stay here and why he cares so much about those stupid birds, keeps calling me Tweety Bird, that baby name, why he let Mom drive me out of our home, didn't try to stop me from leaving, and worst of all, stood on her side in family court. On the way back, I stare out the side window. We don't talk, except twice he asks, "So how are you doing?" "Fine," I answer both times. "Good," he says, "good." Since he died, I've tried to find that place, but the road's changed, and a car wash stands on his lot. So as Danny mentioned, I lived for more than 4 decades, 2310 West Street, Union City, also known as West Hoboken. Yeah. Yes, yeah, it was West Hoboken, and then it got changed to Union City, and some clever real estate people then tried to get it back to West Hoboken when, yeah, right? So the house we lived in was a wood frame house that had been built in like 1898, so it was always full of surprises. We take down a wall. When John asks, "Do you want to take down a wall?" I know the one he means. It encloses the newly discovered fireplace in the first floor kitchen. 35 years of living here, and I never thought twice about behind the wall until my sister-in-law called it blind. When my knuckles knocked, a hollow reply told the truth. John traces lines to guide the saw. He doesn't cut the frame of 2x4s. What's behind is unbroken, ordinary, yet strange. Brick hearth, concrete lintel, both once painted high gloss white that has yellowed. Even with the wall gone, the space clings to its tomb silence. Maybe it's been closed off for too many years. I reach into across the hearth, then press palm on stone no one within memory has touched. What hung from the nails which, when pried out, left pocks? Why does slightly rusted tin cover the flue? Why aren't base bricks as neatly finished? On the jamb, white pushes against but doesn't take over an odd patch of gray. What protected the gray? At first glance, I know this fireplace wasn't where families posed for holiday snapshots. Agents never praised it as boosting the house's sale appeal. No, day and night, without ado, it did its working class job. Held the stove within its surround, spread warmth through uninsulated rooms, kept the house from going up in flames. Rather than demolish and erase, whoever built the wall did a quick and dirty cover-up, for which I give thanks. After hours of work, The fireplace has been returned to our site. We'll have to figure out how to use it from now on. For the meantime, the wood frame, though no longer needed, will stay in place. So I have always affectionately called 2310 West Street my crooked house. My crooked house. John wants to put a metal frame around our house as a way of correcting its lean. He already put metal beams under the floor in the first floor kitchen in an attempt to reverse its sagging. He points out how the straight edge of the new built-in bookcase in the first floor living room calls attention to the ceiling slant. The space between wall and frame of the back door changes from 2 3/4 inches at the base to 4 1/4 inches at the top. The second floor has its own set of problems. Much carpentry had to be done to the kitchen window to square it on the wall, and objects that fall on the living room floor roll from north to south. This morning he, while sitting in the yard, noticed how the stairs are off-center from the door. Yes, I say to him, all over there are signs of the leans, slants, settles, sags, and cracks underneath. But, I add, this house has survived a century. It does not need to be straightened out. Okay, so this is how much Jersey City is in my blood. So for the past 10 years, I've been working on this 5-book collection called The Argument of Time that was sparked by a visit in 2014 to Ostia Antica, which is an extinct city about 20 minutes outside of Rome. It was a port town. It wasn't a resort town like Pompeii. It was a working class port town. And so the first 3 books are published. The 4th is on its way to being published like in the next month or 2. I'm working on the 5th. And to my surprise, I found the 5th is really more about Jersey City. So I told a friend of mine who's an archaeologist who digs in Ostia, I said, Joanne, it's really strange because the 5th book seems to be more about Jersey City. And she said, that doesn't surprise me. Ostia was the Jersey City of its day. I was like, oh, okay, who thought? So I'm just going to read you, this is a very new poem, and it's just a piece of it. It's called Emotional Geographies, Part 2B. That route cross town on 34th really began 10 miles earlier when we shut the door on that disgusting mess. Not only our floor through at 111 Belmont, but also Mom, walked straight up Bergen Avenue to Journal Square, then caught the train to 34th. Little more than a mile, and yet so much of me remains on it. When midnight panics start to fragment myself, I walk it step by step and name the shops along the way. For example, the list for one short block. Paris Bakery, gone. Roger's Toys, gone. Schoenberg Pawnbrokers, still there and expanded into next door. State Coffee Shop, gone. No Name Newsstand, gone. Each window still filled with things I longed to have back then. Some nights I must expand my litany. Bus stops, still there. Graveyards, still there. Churches, still there. Peter Stuyvesant on marble base in front of PS 11. Old building destroyed in fire, statue moved. And the layout of the smaller squares, McGinley and Bergen, that force a walker to briefly change direction from straight ahead to go around. Still there. I finish in the alley, gone. 2 bar, Woolworths, Orange Julius, gone, gone, gone. which led to the 34th Street train. The same route every time, which really doesn't make much sense because, to tell the truth, Bergen Avenue never was a walk in the park, especially during those hours when even buses had stopped running for the night. But on my inner map, I'd marked off the spots where fear hit worse, as if remembering them that way kept everything in check, as if I know this place like the back of my hand became my substitute for I feel safe. As if was how I stayed intact. Thank you.
One line missing from that poem, Jersey Journal, gone. Thank you, everyone. Let's hear it for our poets again. They were fantastic. I'd like to again thank the Hoboken Historical Museum, and let me remind you that this event was free. If you like what you heard, there is a donation box over there. If you throw in a 5, 10, 20, 100, it would be appreciated. We also have books for sale. And if you happen to be watching online, live streamed, if you go to the Hoboken Historical Museum webpage, up there in the corner on the top right, there is a drop down for donations. So thank you again.